Hello, this is Heather Gates, and I welcome you to the Stand in the And podcast, where we have honest conversations about the messy complexity of the human experience, where we get stuck, and how we find forward in the and of it all where many things are true at once. This podcast is designed especially for those of us who want to make things more beautiful and better for everyone, and sometimes need reminding that we are human too. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the podcast, y'all, where I am standing in the and today with my dear friend and public health data nerdery colleague originally, Willysha Jenkins. Willysha, I would love for you to introduce yourself in whatever way that feels good to you to the audience.
Wow, Heather, this is like a long time coming. I'm not
Yay.
surprised to connect with you again because um I am a flower child. I am like someone who definitely builds connections,
Mm.
builds relationships, builds my perception based on how I feel when I'm around folks. So you were definitely a person that helped me like ground in that. So I'm definitely like a flower child and a feeler. I am a explorer. I love to travel. I
Mm.
love to learn about different communities and learn how I can see things from different perspectives. So I find myself to be a global citizen. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am an auntie, the favorite auntie. I don't know.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's all about me, and they all look like me. I don't care what anyone says. They all look like me. Um, I am um I'm a lot of things.
Mhm.
But ultimately I am a data nerd. My training in biomedical sciences and research. So I'm definitely a data nerd. I'm a lover of people. And so that comes together into public health for me. That's how I express that in what I do. And I am currently the Chief of Staff at the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services for the Portfolio of Health under Deputy Secretary Deborah Farrington. And I am here just as me. So I'm excited. Um, yeah, and I'm excited to talk a bit about something that I still struggle with today.
Yeah,
And I'm hoping
same.
standing in the end with you will bring some clarity and hopefully some of my experiences can do the same.
Yeah, we're at least just gonna show up in it, right? When I tell people stand really is just is showing up, and I don't think it's work that's ever, um, done. What a beautiful introduction, by the way. I love it so much. I'm like, "Just add poet or something to the list." It was
You
just
know
so
what? I did write
lovely.
poetry for a while.
And
Sometimes
I'm
I
like,
still do.
"Something, yeah, in there is some word magic." That was lovely.
Oh.
And I just wanna say, so I mentioned our paths crossed on, some kinda state level data strategy pondering some years ago, I don't even remember,
Mhm.
and it
Yeah.
just has been you and I don't work together now, as I said in my intro, I just call you a friend at this point,
Mhm.
um, and I'm just so grateful that our paths have crossed. It really has been a true joy, not only to work with you, but just to know you. You are a brilliant, bright light,
Oh,
and, yeah, I'm just happy to share space with you always and really honored that you're up for, being in the and with me today in a way that everybody else can, benefit from too. So thank you
oh,
for
you're
being
gonna make me
here.
cry.
No, listen, we'll do what we
Don't
need to
do
do.
it. You know I will. You know I will. You find a way to pull it out of me.
Well, I don't try, but I definitely am not afraid of, tears. I don't think I've shared it on this podcast, but when I'm with my kids and I'm crying, I say, I'm so full of emotion, it's falling out of my face.
I love that.
I mean, you said you're a big feeler.
Mhm.
I don't know that I knew you identified in that way, but I for sure am a big thinker and a big feeler. And
Mhm.
yeah, sometimes the feelings just have to come out some kind of way.
Yeah, it can be
Out
hard
out
to
of out
resolve
of my
that.
face. I
Yeah.
think I think humans can cry for a reason. I think,
Yes.
so much of this, and we're gonna really get into it here, in a minute, but I think part of my journey over time has been trusting what my body already knows it needs, right? Against kind of what culture tells me it should be doing. The
Mhm.
more I sense in and, if it needs to cry, let it cry. If it needs a break, give it a break.
Mhm.
So this almost an unlearning of what
Yes.
of what quote should be or before we get into it, I am curious what and you're standing in today. So as you show up, let's do what I call a and stand.
All right.
And I'll go too, but if you have one, kind of how are you showing up as we do this today?
I am showing up big on passion and boundaries and pauses for
Okay.
sure. Yes, I am standing in that today.
So the topic that we're going to dig into, you're feeling into today specifically. That's
Yes.
always fun. That makes it feel fresh and present.
Yes, very
Nice.
present.
Nice. Well, we'll come back to you then because that is indeed what our topic is going to be. Where am I standing in? It's Friday. It has been a week. And I think I sit here feeling satisfied. And that's really important. I'm glad I have myself on recording now, hopefully saying that, because as an almost insatiable seeker, I'm always reaching.
Mhm.
And it is a new experience for me to feel this kind of embodied enoughness
Wow.
in a way that feels like I'm satisfied with my effort, I guess to say.
Yes.
Like, I want to give all of that I have to give. I want to leave it all on the field. And as I sit here at the end of a week, I'm like, I did my work, I did my thing. And so I feel
Mhm.
satisfied right now. And it feels nice just to settle in to that. With that, also I feel satisfied and eager still. So I still feel some of that reach energy,
Mhm.
um, kind of in multiple directions. I was telling somebody recently that I tend to love like a fireworks, not like a hose.
Yeah.
It's like in a bunch of directions. So I'm eager, like excited to go do Thanksgiving with family and some at this point in the year, we're always thinking about what's next. So
Yeah.
it's like, what's 2026 look
What
like?
is it gonna bring?
I have
Especially
some
now, it's like, what's tomorrow gonna look like?
creative pursuit. So, but eager in a way that feels, uncertainty often comes with some heaviness and some stressfulness. And a little bit of what's it going to be like. I feel some, because we could talk about all that, but I
Oh,
just, I'm
yes.
honoring that I feel some eager that feels, positive. So, yeah, I guess a real Heather complicated way to say, "I'm good today." I think I'm good right now.
I love that, and you so deserve every day to feel like that, for sure.
Well, I think we all deserve is a complicated word for me, but, yeah, I think we all that's what you and I are both showing up with our passion to fight for is that everybody deserves
Absolutely.
everything. Yeah, everything.
Everything. Everything.
So let's get into it. So when you and I were talking, because I know since I had, and I wish I had the notes, but like since I've imagined having a podcast, you've been on my list of who I want to have. Yeah, sit with me in it. So as we pondered together, what of the billion things that we could talk about today, what should we settle into? And we picked the and of passion and pause, I think is what we're going to call it. Will you tee that up
Absolutely.
for us and just like it what do the words mean to you separately? What is the and of it? Like paint the picture for where you kind of what it means to you and we'll just go from there.
Oh, for sure. So I am definitely driven by passion.
Yep.
I am a
Same.
flower child, energy feeler, so passion is a major component for me. And I think just as a human being and knowing that we're connected to the universe, I think that feeling of passion comes from somewhere. So I feel like it
Mm,
very much flows through me and guides me, and helps me in my decisions, and drives me through periods when I must be resilient. And passion is
mm,
very, very important. And so passion is expelled through various facets in my life in different ways. And um, I found, and this is something I really learned, um, as I learned to stand in the end, I
mm,
found that applying what I know is right for me with regard to passion in one area, whether it's the passion I feel for my child, the love, the desire
mhm,
to care and nurture, or a partner, or um, even in my work. It must be like as pure as it can be. It must be something that I'm putting my energy into that I feel some affinity for.
mm,
And with that internal drive, um, I've learned over time that there must also be boundaries in order to keep that passion pure and in its truest form in each area of your life. And just culturally, and even beyond culture, I'm a science nerd, so we're talking about genetics, epigenetics, and like things that have happened generations before me, and how that
mm,
impacts how my cells express themselves today, or how I process the world today. Like, there's a lot that goes into what drives you. And so you may oftentimes as you're navigating life, do things or allow things to happen, and give your passion to it, but they don't really align with what you're
mm,
supposed to be using your talents for. And without boundaries, things can really go awry. I was really passionate and pure in my desire to help communities that are disproportionately affected by certain disparities
mhm,
or outcomes. I was passionate about that. It was real. It's what I feel I'm meant to do. I very much bring myself to work. I bring who I am, very vulnerable. But I learned standing in the end is that there can be both. You
mhm,
can be passionate, and you can ensure that um, things happen in a way where you're respected and you're appreciated and you're valued. Um, and so it was a journey, because
yeah,
for a time I wanted to turn away from it.
yeah. So, I mean, whew, so much you just said there about, I mean, I guess to acknowledge. So, as I listen to you here, Willisha, it's honoring that you're like, I'm a passionate person, period. And work is one of those places that I channel that energy. I think a lot, because you're using the language around keeping my passion pure, like how do we guard that the specialness of that kind of fire?
Hmm.
I think a lot about clean energy. You hear about clean energy in other senses, but I'm often thinking about how do I keep my own energy as clear as possible? Um, and what are the kind of guardrails that go around that to help protect that fire? 'Cause I think for a lot of reasons, in my experience, it's I always wanna think like being a fire tender, like a fire keeper or something like
Yeah,
that is like, "Oh,
exactly.
what's then the work of that?" My fire tending, I think over time so if we think about, we're very passionate. I too have a big fire for this work. I would say it was, probably lit like, with a big torch originally, as an AmeriCorps and, like, volunteer in 2001,
Yeah.
really lit on fire for prevention and for system level
Mhm.
change. such that, again, you mentioned disparities, that everyone has a fair chance at flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
And that fire really, so as a passionate person, and I don't know if this is your experience too, I'm curious. I feel like I am wired in some ways for burnout. Like that I can just like that fire is
Yes.
intense and directional, and I have learned over time that I am wired for burnout because not only am I passionate, but what that means in me is I am it 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 expresses itself in push energy, and
Mm-hmm.
go and get it and figure it out in a really intense driving energy that I cannot actually sustain.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the and the tension with passion and pause in particular, to bring that in here, I again, whether it's culture or wherever it comes from, I think some of my early challenge, and you talk about kind of the kind of let me notice and create some boundary around passion. I think probably mine is more how do I boundary Heather
Mm-hmm.
a little bit
Right.
to go like it's okay to slow down. Like nobody's coming to tell me that I can take a break. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
coming with a permission slip to say you need a day, you need a minute,
Mm-hmm.
you need a minute, you need a week, you need a month, you need a year, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But that I think this how do I slow it's not even a slowing. I don't know that I can slow it down. So I have because it's so intense when it's on, I just have to be really intentional about making space to, um, I don't wanna say disrupt my own momentum, but sort of. I don't know if
Yeah, I
any of
know
that
what you
makes
mean.
sense.
It makes complete sense because I mean, but I think when it comes to you, and this is what I learned after I got past like letting other people make me feel like I had to go, go, go. And once I got past that, then I did, and I do have to get on me. That's the part that I mentioned to you that I still
It's
have to
still
work
working on
on.
yeah, yeah.
But I know exactly what you mean, and what I have definitely started to do, and my body started to do for me, is
Mm,
tell me to slow down. Like,
mhm.
I've had a lot going on from my shoulders to my joints. It's been craziness. My body really telling me, you need to slow down. And so, through some of those circumstances, unfortunately, it got that extreme.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Now, I resonated with you when you said that I pay attention now to what my body needs. And I
Mhm.
think maybe we both should tap into that more in the day to day. Like, what do I need in this moment? Like, we came to stand in the end where we were in this moment. I think if we do that more, we can recognize, okay, let me slow down. Like, when I legit tell you I have this at my desk, and sometimes I look at it and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to my backyard for 20 minutes. And you know what? The world's not going to burn because if I fall over at my desk right now, someone else will be here in
Yeah.
a week or two. You
So,
know?
for those of you who can't see Willysha like I can,
Oh,
she's holding up her pause button, which y'all all should know by now that you can buy one of these for
yep,
your very own.
yep.
But so I feel like we've all already listed kind of 2 tools that I just wanna put a pin in, because so much of this, Willysha, as we talk about standing in the and, as you know, it just feels helpful to me to normalize the experience that we're
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Talk about the tension, where we get stuck, where we've experienced stuckness, and how are we getting unstuck?
Hmm.
How are we staying in, that pure energy, to use your language, your pure
Hmm.
passion energy, so that you can continue to do what you're doing, and that's what
Right.
this podcast is for. All of y'all out there with a fire in your belly for making the world better and more beautiful for people. I want us to keep figuring out how to nurture ourselves and support each other so that we can
Hmm.
continue to do that. So 2 things that you've said already is one is if the more we can stay in our bodies, if that feels like, right, this as
Hmm.
safe as we can make that for us to our body will tell us.
Yes.
And then this pause button, and I'll just be a little nerdy a second on the health behavior side, which is where my
Hmm.
master's is. I think in theory we would call this a cue to action, which
Hmm.
actually ironically is a cue to inaction, or it is a pause being because you didn't say, I saw this and then I stopped everything. You said, I saw this and then I shifted to something else. So
Mhm.
the pause button really is an interrupter.
Mhm.
It's an interrupter of whatever the energy intensity or whatever is happening so that you can shift.
Yep.
So that doesn't have to be a pause button for us. It could be anything on your desk that helps remind you to, take a time out.
Mhm. And
Something
then it
that
gives you the chance to have discipline because once you recognize it, now it's your responsibility to act on it. So at that point, if you're truly driven, Heather, we're pretty high driven. Like if I make myself responsible for it, I'm going to do it. And so that's again where you apply those skills that you may apply to work to yourself. Give yourself a
mm,
modicum of that back, and you'll be able to sustain and flourish and just go beyond what even you may have imagined, so
I have never thought about this pause situation that we're discussing as a discipline.
yeah.
Like, I wanna just, like, slow down what you just said because it feels so important. You're saying taking some of that, because it is, there's a this commitment, the showing up and the passion and the push, the discipline to keep after it.
Hmm.
You're saying if we can channel some of that same attentiveness to what we need, um, and that just feels really true to me because I I have recently spent a lot of time thinking about this particular topic.
Hmm.
And do I mean, I have a system, like, I have a full-on system in place in my calendar right now with, like, 3-day chunks, 1-day chunks, 2-hour blocks. I've just never thought of that as a discipline, and that yeah, I don't know, it just is an interesting way to think about it as a strategy, as an intentionality,
Hmm.
not an apology.
Right.
Right, so in the beginning, and this is so my get in the beginning, so maybe similar to you, because you were saying in the beginning it was more like what's happening around me, the external, and how do I
Hmm.
boundary or pause or do what I need there, and then it's the
Hmm.
kind of internal self stuff.
Right.
Yeah, for me, I think it's like that wave 1 is just the permission to pause. Like whatever
Hmm.
we have to sort through, like, it's okay. Not only is it okay, oh. I made myself a note before we started this that as I started making a couple notes for this podcast, I realized how passionate and fired up I get about the pause.
Hmm.
And I'm like, there's some irony in there somewhere that I'm going to have to like pause myself on my passion about the pause before I just get real preachy on a soapbox about this.
I'll be right
But
there with you.
I'm like
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, y'all, seriously, for real." Like,
For
anybody who
real.
feels like they need a permission to pause, what we're saying too, so on that front, what I see without it, so if we are in hustle culture, go, 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 I think we think that it's serving the mission,
Hmm.
and we may feel like it's not serving us, but we don't have permission to tend to that, but it's serving the mission. I wanna say, I don't even think we're serving the mission as well as we could in that model.
Mm-mm.
So that isn't it's just not true. We
It's
are
not.
going too fast. I think we see mistakes. It's inefficient. We're having to clean stuff up all the time. Like, it's not working anywhere.
Hmm. And it's stressful.
And it's stressful,
It's
and it
hard on
doesn't
you.
feel good, and it's hard on you, but all of that aside, so aside from, like, feels terrible and you're worthy of flourishing, period, even if you do nothing for anyone, you're a human on the planet
Exactly.
and you deserve that. Back
Yes,
to
you do.
what do we mean by deserve it? Everybody does. It's not even serving the work. So
Right.
I think so that trade-off, like, let's just be done with that trade-off.
That goes back to the pure passion. It no
Yeah,
longer serves what you're doing.
it doesn't serve what you're
So why
doing.
do it?
So one example I gave is the inefficiency just from the pace of it. The other one I would give is what we know, back to nerdery from a neuroscience perspective, is our feedback loops can kinda get ahead of us, right?
Mhm.
Especially in emotional intensity and stress. So we have to kind of pause, slow it down a little bit, pause for a second so that we can respond and not react.
Yes.
So even in service to the work, we need to pause.
We need to pause.
And then there's the dance, right? I think on the other side of once you're like, okay, Heather and Willysha, I'm on board and I get it. And you see it. You see that you have to have both. So I'm not even trying to convince you to create it. I'm trying to let you know that you can let it be true.
Yes.
Your body knows this, right? Our bodies
Yes.
know.
They know.
Our bodies know.
They know.
My guess is all of us who are wired really intensely also have some piece of us that really desires like solitude and calm or some other balancing
Yes.
energy. And so,
Yes.
like, how do we give ourselves permission to be true? And then what are the discipline? Like, I love the discipline. What are the systems and structures to put in place? Because in me, anyway, that intensity side
Mhm.
is kind of bossy in my
Yeah.
body. Like, we'll take over all the rest and then burn out.
Mhm.
And so the dance that I'm constantly navigating, like in real time, I literally got coached about this 2 days ago. Okay. Just to remind you how fresh this reality is between, yeah, the passion and the push and the pause and this ebb and flow and the dance and the discipline to support it. Um, is to keep in particular for me is it's clear to me that I don't want to just firework my energy out and then burn out and I'm done. Like I care
Exactly.
the fire that I have, I need to burn for as long as possible.
Yeah, you gotta nurture it. And it's your responsibility. And when you think
Mm,
about all that you're engaged in and all the impact you have, like you said, if you're taking care of yourself, that genius is going to come out of you. You're allowed to have it. Like it's there, but you have to nurture yourself and ensure that you're able to perform and walk in your destiny.
mm,
And once you realize that responsibility is really to yourself, then you're like, okay, this is really what I need to do to be my best. I'm my best when I'm well fed, well read, happy, you know. Sometimes things are hard and you have to work hard and work, we're not living in a bubble. I have a partner, so my boundaries are sometimes pushed and pulled. But in general, it's something that I owe to myself in service of everyone I love. If I say I love my son, I owe it to him to be my best. And if my best
mm.
says go get a 90-minute massage and a hydrofacial, then
Okay.
I'm gonna go do that.
I'm like, note to self, Google hydrofacial. I don't know about
Yes.
this. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Um,
Well, you have beautiful skin. You should know about it, but
well, I
we who
think
struggle know with the
I'm up for all the
hydrofacial.
tools in the toolkit. I wanna again, I feel like everything you wanna say, I just wanna reverse the tape and pull out a piece and talk about one piece at a time. As you were talking about nurturing yourself, you said I have a responsibility to myself.
Mhm.
Just to hold that up, the and of, because the passion I feel feels like I have you mentioned in the beginning, I'm a global citizen. I
Mhm.
hold a deep responsibility
Oh, yes.
to the collective, it feels like, right? To
Absolutely.
almost like wherever this passion comes from and comes through me, I have a responsibility to help move it through and out into the world, and a responsibility to myself. Maybe for me, like both as the vessel of that passion and just
Yes.
as a being that is separate from it. Because
You're
I don't know that,
definitely
yeah, I don't know. That
I
just felt important.
I think it is, and I think when you say vessel, it's really important. I don't know what folks' beliefs are and things of that nature, but everything is connected. Nature is
Mhm.
balanced. We are all made
Mm.
of little atoms, and it's like it's all connected.
Stardust, right?
Stardust. And so, I believe that your ancestry impacts you. Like, I mean,
Mm,
just genetically, it makes sense to me, scientifically, and just my own personal and spiritual beliefs. So I do believe the vessel is real. And if you think
mm,
about whatever your family history is, or your ethnic history is, and what had to be endured for you to be a human on the planet right now,
mm,
it's like, yes, I am a vessel through which folks with some kind of sense continue to procreate in hopes of balancing the world order at this point. But we'll save that for another. Like, we have to do something. So if I gotta take care of myself so I can be strong enough to raise my son to be able to navigate problems and navigate the system and continue that
Yep.
energy, that pure passion, then that's my role in my short second here on Earth compared
Yeah.
to the moon or sun or star.
It's just so important, Willysha. Like,
Mhm.
and I don't know that we talk about it normally that I don't know that we talk about it in that way when we're talking about our passion and our purpose, that not even separately. Maybe it's not even an and, but like part of my passion and purpose is acknowledging that nurturing myself is part of that responsibility. And when you see it that way, I wonder if it's easier. I think it's taken me some time to see it that way.
Mhm.
Um, but then once you do, it's a strategy like, then it turns into a strategy and you're like, "Oh, okay. This is part of it. This is part of holding a fire and living a passion is like in that instruction manual is also, this responsibility to myself." If there's more you wanna say about that, happy to hear, and then I'm also curious, stirring for me kinda similarly as you start talking about these things, it's like, what does that mean in real life? When we're saying responsibility to myself, when we're talking about the pause, I wonder if we can give folks 'cause it's gonna look different for everybody, but just,
Yeah.
like, what it looks like for you in a practical sense, I'm happy to share, like, what it
Yeah.
looks like for me in a practical sense.
I'll give you an example that was just this week. So, on last Friday, my great aunt Celestia Witherspoon passed, and she had been living in Detroit for like 50 years. I mean, she was older and sick. It was surprising, but it's like, it's one of the elders in the family. And my mom was really, upset. And, at this point, I've gone through these traumatic, like, death experiences, unfortunately, for so many years. I haven't yet to process it. It'll probably be at the service. Either way, my mom wanted to go to Detroit. She wanted me to drive Wednesday and come back Sunday for the services. And then I was like, well, maybe we can fly. Granted, I just started this new job and, I had shoulder surgery like 7 months ago and it's like cold and I'm like, is that arthritis? Um, and so I really didn't want to. I really didn't want to, but I
Mm,
knew that my mother was upset. And eventually, I think when did I talk to her? Day before yesterday. You know what? I was talking to my fiance and I was like, I really don't want to go. And she was like, well, don't. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going. And you'll have to figure it out. And she was upset. And then she got over it. And I told her I'd give her some gas money or buy you a ticket, but I'm not going.
mhm.
And that's what it looked like for me in that moment. And I was like, it's one of the first times I really told my mom no
Mm,
in my life and didn't overextend myself beyond what I physically was feeling and still am feeling. I want to rest. I want to sit here and eat and sit on my couch. And I'm not trying to drive to Detroit where the
mhm.
real feel is 19 degrees and take my 8-year old. I'm not doing that. And I felt bad for a second, but then I was like, that's what it looked like for me. I I chose rest over responsibility.
Mm,
Responsibility.
and, I mean, if I wanna or and not over you chose responsibility.
Oh
Just
yeah. Yes. I chose responsibility. That's 100% because I deserve to rest. It's been a lot. I bought a house this year in the worst market. I got this new job. If I want to sit in these walls that I'm paying for, I've earned that. I have earned that, and
and
that's okay.
it's such a powerful example of I mean, even when I think about the examples and stories shared on this episode so far, in how this negotiation between me and we,
Mhm.
and how often to protect the pause or take the pause that we feel like we need involves some negotiation with the outside.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the discomfort of a no in service to the self-responsibility.
Mhm.
Because what I know when I say, in particular, the word that came up for me is obligation. Like, I'm going to do this in service of self-responsibility and outside of obligation, because every time I step into that alternative model, I feel resentment. I'm then
Mhm.
tired, and now I'm going to blame you that I'm tired,
Yep.
and I'm going to be mad right? All this other stuff that then comes with it that's not
Mhm.
clean energy and true passion or whatever we were talking about
It's
before,
not.
is like noticing the heaviness of um an not embodied, that doesn't feel like a word, an unembodied, like noticing a yes that's not really a yes, and
Yeah.
the heaviness of how that plays out, either short term or long term.
Mhm. And
And
the
it's hard,
consequence, the
right? It's hard
energy
though. But I
consequence.
mean, what that takes though is like,
Mhm.
I mean, you even said it's a willingness to sit in the discomfort of saying no to somebody who you're like, I don't know that I've ever actually done this in my whole life. And they're
Yeah.
gonna have some feelings about it. So it's not even like,
Mhm.
well, I'll trust it'll work out. No, I trust that they will legit be upset, and I still will just be in that, and let that be true in service to what I know I need. Like, that is you talked about responsibility and discipline. Like, the discipline to sit in that kind of discomfort,
Very uncomfortable.
that still is but on the other side of it is this
Yeah.
truer, cleaner
Yeah.
energy, because then you've told the truth to yourself first and
Yes.
then to others, and
Mhm.
then, have had the courage to say what you need to say to get to what, you need. I've certainly had some examples similar. I think I even talked about it on the last podcast I did with Dolly. We talked about wringing our sponge out some, and I said, the question sometimes when I'm in that, like, I need to go, I don't really wanna go, when I ask myself, "What would you do if no one would be disappointed or judge you?" And then I get that answer. I usually know that that's the truth, and
Mhm.
what's keeping me from it is just the fear of disappointing somebody or somebody being judgy to me about it. And
Absolutely.
over practicing that over time, like knowing what it feels like the lightness and the ease that comes from telling the truth to yourself and other people about where your energy needs to go. Because that's ultimately, I guess, Willysha, what we're talking about is energy management.
Energy management.
Like, you have this passion fire. How do you tend to it? Where do you
Yes.
put the energy? When do you need to when do you need to interrupt it and step back and calm it?
And when you
What
think we're faced with so much all the time, like if we don't manage it, it's a lot.
Let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
you gave an example of a no that got you to pause and rest. Um, One that I've realized lately in like a micro pause kind of way, because to me this comes up in the every hour version, and then the over a lifetime, I need a year of something else. So it looks different in scale. Something that I'm working on right now, and it's not like one of in the dance between the passion and the pause for me is the gear shift between things. Like, I feel whiplashy a fair amount, even just from like, it's a regular Monday morning and I'm shifting gears from like weekend mom mode, chill me, dance to come run the business. That shift, or I see it in myself and others, this shift to PTO
Mhm.
and then back. And then the countless shifts that we're doing in the day, like I'm learning that some tiny space between those, like when I'm shifting from one part of myself to another,
Mhm.
is helpful. what I have not, not consciously, but what I was realized that I was doing until I went on retreat recently and I'm like trying to sort myself out is that in every pause, I'm talking about like even I'm at a red light for 30 seconds. I'm picking up my phone, I'm checking my email, I'm checking my Gmail, I'm checking LinkedIn, and I'm checking Instagram at
All the
every
time.
at every transition. And I was like, so I go into to retreat. I do silent retreat. I've talked about it, I think, on the podcast
Yeah.
couple times a year. So I was there. So I'm like, it's just me and the quiet. And I am craving, my current intention is to savor my aliveness. Okay. That's the goal. I'm going to savor my aliveness. And so I'm like, all right, self, what does that mean? What does that look like? And I'm like, I want to slow it down. I want to be in what I'm doing, not 10 steps ahead. Like
Right.
I want to be in it. And so you start thinking about what are the things that are keeping you from that. And the amount of time, I'm not even sometimes it's I'm sitting here scrolling on social media, but the habit that I have created to I'm finished one thing or I'm going to the house, but I'm filling all the spaces with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So even at a place where I need pause, because you talk about the noise. And when you're a
Yes.
passionate person, when you're a big feeler, I'm like, all of these inputs that I'm inviting into my energy
Mm-hmm.
that I'm choosing, right? I'm not choosing for the inputs to be what they are, but I'm choosing to consume them as
Mm-hmm.
frequently as I am. And I was like, that has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, as somebody who has studied health behavior, I'm humbled every time I try to change one of my habits
Mm-hmm.
about how, because there's a lot and we don't have podcast time left to go through all the ways that I have tried to tinker with my energy over time. I mean, one of them, like
Yes.
caffeine for me, like blows my energy passion like too fast.
Yeah.
Wine drives it too slow. Like all
Too
these
slow.
things that I've tried to do to manage the energy of all this, that now I'm just stripping all of that out to try to listen to my body better, and then yet still pumping it full of inputs that just aren't needed. And I'm not anti-social media. We use it in our business.
Oh yeah.
It's a place
Guilty.
where it's a
It's a time. It's a life. I just feel like it sucks the life
well,
out of
and
you.
for me, I feel like that from a time I had seen it that way as like, oh, I'm wasting my time doing this, but I don't think I had connected it until like last week to I'm not able to get really soak in the magic, or that sounds like the breath and the spaciousness. Had an orchestra teacher once who told us to play the silence. Like music has space. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So I realized that I was feeling all the tiny spaces up.
Yeah.
Even if I know that I need that pause in transition between things, I don't have a pause button on my desk anymore. Now that I just pulled this out for this, I'm like, I'm going to sit it on top of my phone just
Yeah.
like this
Just
and,
like that. I'm
and
telling
go,
you.
because I
And
think
it's
I'm using my phone I'm using my phone as the way to interrupt my energy. And
yep.
instead it's fueling it.
Yeah. And I've been there. That's something that I say I still have to work on things. I do the same thing to distract myself from the feeling, or to distract myself from thinking about a topic that I don't want to think about work anymore, whatever I have to do to stop thinking about it. And so then I use this if it's
Yep.
particularly cold outside, because I don't like to be cold unless I'm going to like
I love the cold.
be tubing or something. I like the clothes, but I prefer, if there's a fire. Anyway, if I'm not out and about and doing things, then yeah, I'll be like, okay, I need something to stop me from obsessing. And it takes a lot
Yeah.
to slow down, because we were trained that way. We've been pushed that way, even from the structure of how upper level education teaches you how to think and, like we've been trained that way all of our lives since kindergarten. You get up this time, do this, you
It's
do
go.
this, and
It's
you
go.
keep
It's go.
go. So, I mean, we got to give ourselves a break. It's not like a
Oh
habit
yeah,
we've
I'm not
had
mad
for
at it. I'm
like,
not mad at us about it.
I'm not mad. I'll be like, whatever I need.
Yeah, whatever I need. I think what I'm saying though, from a
Yeah,
like be honest with myself first
it
is
is.
and I love you naming it that way. It's like I'm picking up my phone to help interrupt the thing that I'm doing. And I'm saying that that's what a pause is. It
Hmm.
is an interruption of the energy. It is a shift. What I'm saying is the way I was choosing to do that was not actually serving me. And
Yeah.
again, that's not something that anybody else is going to call out. But me, like, what actually helps me savor my sometimes it is, especially if I'm bored. Like, I will sit there and laugh at random videos on Instagram. But this habit I have of just check it, scroll for a few minutes, it just kept fueling my stuff. So what else besides let me get quit picking on myself about social media and the gaps. Other things I'm curious if we have other tools. I mean, maybe from let's talk
Something.
about the discipline even you mentioned of pause because I said one a minute ago, but I'm happy to say a little bit more even about what this means from a calendar perspective.
Hmm. So well, this is a new job. Look, I'm not doing great right now, but from a calendar perspective, discipline, no, I will, if I feel myself driving beyond what I physically need um, in a particular week, then the next week I do develop a schedule where I put intentional focus time in my schedule, in my work schedule. I realize other professionals do this. Like, I mean, there's nothing you can say. I have to focus, I have to do the things. So during that focus time, what I focus on is myself.
Mm.
I focus on myself and what I feel I need in the moment, whether I want to go outside for a walk, whether I want to work on a puzzle, whether I want to do whatever. It's just focus time for me and it helps me recenter myself um to the and boundaries. If the week before I did too much, I do that discipline focus time to get myself back on track. It's not something I can maintain like throughout the week, but I
Yes.
find that my habit of being disciplined during work hours enables me to put time in where I know that I'm in the mindset to, oh, it's focus time, I get it done. Because if I trust myself to leave it until the evening, I may get distracted in service of others. Um,
Mm.
so I do leverage even my work calendar for my personal health because y'all need me to be healthy here.
Yeah, there's so seems real important. I'm so glad that we brought this up. Like there is no perfect balance equation here. That's not what we're
Mm-mm.
talking about. It's not how do you perfectly balance the pause and the passion so that everything just runs it like no, that's not how it works. So I'm the same. Super intense. Like I'm gonna burn hard, travel, big client stuff for days, and then I know I need a minute to reset when I can. And like all the grace for I mean, I just went through a really busy chapter where in the middle of it, I'm like, oof, I need a minute. And my body's like, you ain't got a minute. You've said yes to like, so
Gotta get
sometimes,
it done.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you feel it and you're like, because it's not helpful to add a bunch of shame and guilt on top of it when you feel like you
No.
can't quite pause in the way that you want to. So it's not about bringing perfectionism to this.
No.
I think it's about bringing a mindfulness, certainly, at minimum, a permission
Yeah.
and then a mindfulness about what does it look like to balance this out? Even if what pause means is a disruption in meetings so that I can focus on doing the work that we talk about in the meetings.
Hmm.
So this just it's an intentional disruption of a flow or a pattern in service to what you need. So yeah, I try to like proactively just protect time because my nature is to fill it in.
Hmm.
Um, And sometimes I don't do that, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta carve it out, or I gotta get it." I have to say no to a family thing so I can recharge on the weekend. Um, so yeah, I would say no room for perfectionism in here, so I'm glad that you brought that in.
Absolutely. You got to give yourself grace. Sometimes you have to do a little bit more, and sometimes you deserve to do a little bit less. It's just like any like relationship. What about the relationship with yourself? Like, sometimes it's more or less, but you show up every day.
Anything else to say? Well, I guess one more thing. I'm just trying to think as we wrap this up if there's anything left unsaid about the and that we're standing in as passionate folks between as we kind of honor passion and pause. I guess one other thing I would add before I pass it to you to kind of any final thoughts there is as a fiery person, passionate person, it does help me. Like aside from just we've talked about protecting time, slow things like whether that's guided meditation, yoga, I'm quick to not do them because I'd rather be doing stuff, and every time I work them out, I realize how important it is for me to just let my snow globe settle somehow, and that has been a real it helps sustain me if I can keep coming back to those quiet practices. I'm a journaler too, that helps me just slow down, and take a break from other things. What other tools in the toolkit? Anything else you feel like you wanna mention for folks about this tools to navigate the dance here?
Tools to navigate the dance here. I would say one of the things that I leverage in addition to yoga um, is music.
Hmm.
Music is one of the um, oldest forms of communication, just
Mm.
biologically and just phonically, all the leads does things to you. And if there is music that tends to generally invoke some feeling and you want to take some time, let yourself float away, take some time, play your favorite playlist, or if you like records, take some time to go in your room, play some records. That's
Do you
what I
have
do.
records at your
I do have
house?
records at my house.
Do you?
Yes. Yes.
I love
Yes.
this.
Record player, and I will lay on my back and I'm like, okay, taking time. So find the things that generally bring you joy and do those things. I will also say I'm a huge fan of bubble baths. You can't do too much in there. I mean,
Right, only d you can
you
do a
can
lot of
just
scrolling.
you can do a lot of scrolling, but it will do wonders for your body. Epsom salt, at least you'll get some physical and some
Yep.
aromatherapy as you're scrolling. You got to give and take.
Yeah.
A huge fan of that, and just being around like-minded people. I'm an
Mm.
extroverted introvert at times, or odovert. There's something new that came out. I don't know.
Oh, like, what is it?
Odovert,
Like,
odovert.
ambivert is
Yeah,
is that mean
something.
both? I think it means both.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, something. We're gonna
It's
dig
not
into
us.
that. It's
Yeah.
something.
Y'all
But
Google
just
it.
knowing that I'm not crazy is also a good recharge for me. Like, you know what, girl? There's nothing wrong with you. You can take an hour and a half break to do
Ugh.
something for yourself because other people
Y'all,
feel this way too.
can we just draw a line at like, highlight that in the show notes, call this out? There is nothing wrong with you. Like those,
No.
because that's the story, I guess, Willisha, that is that what we're telling ourselves when we feel tired? Like, what is wrong with me that I can't
Yeah. Why am I
do
tired?
this? Yeah. So, nothing's
Nothing wrong. Nothing's wrong with
wrong with me. Um, I have 2 things. Music, I'm curious. So I love the reminder that, you know, like, what can we do to get to the feeling that we want? Right? Not just, "I feel this way, and what do I do?" Well, how do you want to feel?
you. Yes.
Because that's my thought when I'm picking music out like that, it's not necessarily, I feel frustrated, I wanna listen to music that sounds like
Yeah.
frustration. It's like,
Mm-mm.
sometimes I'm like, I feel mad and I want to listen to some ragey music. But
Yeah.
like that just music can be an emotional regulator in some ways. It's like,
Absolutely.
what are songs for feeling joyful if I don't? And it can move you there or it can honor the place where you are. But it's a way of I think I mean, aside from it just an actual pause to listen to music, it's a
Mhm.
way of feeling seen and whatever you're showing up with that I just love that. Or playlists for various. You can't do that on your record player, which is really awesome that you have. I feel like we might need a
Yeah. You
photo
have
of
to
this.
come. Oh,
I
for
know.
sure.
Yeah.
For
Send us a
sure.
picture of the record player. We'll share it for you on Instagram of
Of
Willysha
course.
and her record player. Last thing that's coming up for me, I think, to close is I'm reminded that we've talked a lot about self and the self responsibility to tend and that sort of stuff. It feels like, I don't know, there's just something else that I want to add for anybody who's a listener, and a lot of you are in a leadership position, right? As leaders, we help set the culture and we can create permission slips. We can create structures and environments that help encourage and normalize that we can't f- fuel our passions all the time. In particular, I would say there's a kind of passion and an energy and a push that we've talked about today that isn't just ours, right? It's not, I spent 10 hours at work today. I spent 10 hours doing emotionally um, lovingly, like, really intense, like, that emotional labor of the
Yes.
particular work that we're talking about sometimes requires a special kind of nurturing and healing also. So, and a lot of people I think that we're connected to and that listen to this podcast are in health and human serving
Mhm.
professions in some way, and so there's a lot there that's not just about the hours in the day, but the intensity of the work. So,
Mhm.
leaders in those settings, what can we do to honor the pause um, after traumatic events? I mean, we're just kind of post hurricane here a year ago, or the day to day things and the topics that we're holding and handling. How do
Mhm.
we tend to that energy and build in pauses? I mean, we can build in structurally things for our teams. We can create cultures.
Absolutely.
And we're here to work, right? So I'm not saying it's every leader's job to be like, everyone take a bubble bath at noon. Like, we're here to do our job.
Right.
Um, but even just people that have PTO, but nobody ever uses it because nobody ever uses it.
Exactly.
Like
Make
these,
them use it. The
yeah, or
problems will be here when you get back.
the
Okay?
things that we can do from a culture, I guess thinking about the both
Yeah.
and of the culture and systems side of it. Now, it's easier for me. It's me. I set the culture here. It's me and Ashley. It's the two of us. So if we decide we want
Absolutely.
to do something, that's easier. Some of us are working, y'all, in really big organizations with different systems and processes. And it makes it trickier, I think, to figure out like what's okay.
Mhm.
Can I walk around the building right now? Do I feel like I have the permission? So what conversations can we be having about that? I mean, it activates in me some of the conversations around burnout, and sometimes I get so frustrated because it feels like it's putting it all on the individual and not on
Right.
the structures and the
And not on the
systems.
structure.
So
Absolutely.
it's all of it,
All of
um,
it.
and it creates tension, right? That's why we're talking about it because there's no easy answer. It's an and that we're standing in. It's a dance that we're doing, whether we're leaders trying to figure out how to manage the push
Mhm.
and the intensity and give ourselves and our teams the spaciousness. How do we do that for ourselves? We're just here trying to figure it out. Hopefully,
Every
nobody comes
day.
here for answers and just comes to the podcast to help
Yeah.
live into the questions. But any final things that you feel like are on your heart that you want to share before I tie us up today?
I am just so grateful to be here. I am just so full right now. I'm just so full. That's all I can say. And I just hope you continue to curate community where we can
Mm.
just be. And I appreciate you.
Mm.
And I'd love to come back sometime.
Uh, Curate community where we can just be.
Just be.
what a beautiful, like, if you think that's what we're doing here, I am feeling so honored
It
that
is.
that is what this is. Um, because I'm often in a position to try to explain explain myself. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, I don't know what it wants to be, but it just does, and it's gonna reveal. I mean, often, and I, because I don't know if you know this, but I'm writing about this content too, and I'm like, I think I just have to start, and it's gonna, like, reveal itself to me what it is.
Absolutely.
And if part of what that is helping curate community where we can be in our fullness and our messiness and our complexity and our passion and our purpose and our pause and our kind of personhood and our communities. I just love that reflection. So that's a beautiful uh, gift, actually, to receive that as far as what the
Mm,
space is. So thank you for that.
of
Um,
course.
Thanks to everybody else for hanging in with us on this journey, for being in the community with us. Um, Stay curious. I think in the end, if I have to keep saying one thing, one tool, if I had to pull one tool out of the toolkit for every episode, it's curiosity. Curiosity about your experience, about your need, about perspective, about all of it. Um, but yeah, stay curious. From a logistics standpoint, would love to invite y'all to rate the podcast. I can't believe I'm even saying this. Like, I'm to the point that I'm not so scared. I'm not too scared to even ask at this point. Um,
Yay.
Rate, review, follow if you know how. You can, like,
I
check
love
a box, and that way, because y'all know we're on a really sporadic posting schedule. So if you want to get them first, the best way to get episodes is to make sure you're following the podcast, and then you'll get them as soon as they come out. Um, Thank you again, Willysha, for helping me savor my aliveness
Oh,
today. And
I just wish I could hug you.
I know I don't like that we're so far
I
away. We should
know.
have done this.
Stop.
So,
We should have. It.
so
We probably
come
would have got
back.
off talk. Yeah, I'll come back.
Yeah,
We're gonna figure it out.
come back, and we'll do it in real life at the table. Plenty of ands to continue to talk about,
Plenty.
and yes, so permission to all. Again, you are missing it. Willisha's having a little private dance party over at her house right now. So before you go to your next thing, whatever you're doing now, when you're listening to this podcast, I challenge you to ask yourself what you need or crave most in this moment, and can we explore that? Go to the website and buy a pause button if you need a cue to action, everybody. We appreciate y'all so much. See you next time. The Stand in the And podcast is supported by Human-Centered Strategy, where we help leaders and teams build connection and strategy and complexity so that everyone can flourish. To learn more or to work with us, please visit us online at humancenteredstrategy.com or message me on LinkedIn.